Hey, good afternoon once again to another edition of B&B Hockey Talk. I'm your co-host, Aaron Bloxel, with Matthew Balzer. I always want to call you Barzell. I don't know why. So close in the names and the anagrams. But anyways, we're here talking about our top 10 list. We're going to continue this week as we did centers yesterday. Make sure you catch that edition. Remember to like and subscribe to us on Facebook and YouTube. But today we're going to talk about our top 10 lists for the left wingers. And man, was this ever hard. But I lost the coin toss yesterday. So today Matt's going to go first, counting down from 10 to number, 8, right? Yeah, he's going to count down 10 to 8. And then we're going to give our honorable mentions at the end of the show. And we're going to give you a spoiler here. There's no Canucks on the list. Matt, go ahead.
Yeah. And Sven Berchi wasn't good enough to crack this top 10 list. But yeah, the number 10 spot was probably the toughest to get to. I think going through, I got the 9, and then for the 10, there's so many young wingers that are just on that cusp of making into the top 10. But the one I went with is Florida left winger Jonathan Huberdeau, former Calder Trophy winner. He had 69 points in 82 games last year. And I think this coming year, I think he'll finally get that huge breakout season. I think he'll have 80-plus points. I think him and Vincent Trocheck played a lot last year. And Trocheck, that's a guy, as a centerman, I think, is another underrated guy that could break out this year. He only had 2 less points than Barkov last year. And was one of the least talked about superstar centers, I think, in the league. But yeah, Huberdeau, I like his game. He's a good passer, and having a guy like Trocheck and possibly a guy like Hoffman on his line this year, I think he could really explode for 60-plus assists. My number 9 is Vegas Golden Knights left winger Jonathan Marchessault. Marchessault, he had that good season in Florida last year with 30 goals. And then this year he exploded with 75 points in 77 games and another 21 points in 20 playoff games. This guy sort of came out of nowhere. It took him a lot longer to develop into the player that he is, because I think last year was only his third full year in the NHL, third or fourth full year in the NHL. But yeah, he's part of that big line with Carlson and Smith. I really like the skill that he has, being undersized, that he can get above that and really produce really well. And my number 8 is another small winger, Calgary Flames left winger Johnny Gaudreau. 84 points last year in 80 games. I think he didn't crack my top 5 just because he doesn't score as many goals. If he can finally start putting the puck in the net more, if he can get to that 30-40 goal range, I think he could climb higher on my list. But just being as small as he is, this guy is super dynamic in the offensive zone. And being a Canucks fan, we get to see the Flames a lot. And just his chemistry with Sean Monahan is really fun to watch.
Man, Johnny Gaudreau, so low down the list. That hurts. I mean, even though I'm a Canucks fan, he is a Canucks killer. But I've got him definitely a little bit higher than mine. But yeah, you're right. I mean, even picking, our honorable mentions for later after the show was very tough for this category. I remember yesterday when we talked about how we want to pick the players, it's got to be based on a little bit more all around as well, not just points. So for me, my number 10 is the heart and soul, one of the main leaders of the Colorado Avalanche, Gabriel Landeskog. 62 points last year, but throws a ton of hits, leads by example, and with that crazy line with Nathan McKinnon and is it Rantanen? I want to say, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't want to pronounce his name wrong. But Rantanen and McKinnon and Landeskog performed one of the hottest lines in hockey, especially late last year. But Landeskog is like a bulldog, right? So for me, he's my number 10. My number 9 is also Jonathan Marchessault out of Vegas. I saw this guy in Florida the year before, and I couldn't believe Florida gave him up in the expansion draft because I knew this guy had some talent. I don't think he would turn into the player that he is now, but with the amount of points he put up last year, I'm not surprised, and I'm not surprised if he does it for years to come. My number 8 is the bread man out of Columbus, Artemi Panarin. 82 points last year. Definitely had a good playoff run, but unfortunately their team faltered against Washington. But he did get that big overtime winner in Game 2. It was a beautiful goal. And, he's shifty. He's small. I can't believe he's getting 82 points a season playing for Tortorella. But the guy's got pure talent. I mean, he was great before he was in Columbus. And whether he stays in Columbus or not, I know it's been in the news lately that there's rumors of him going to another place like perhaps the Rangers. But that's my number 8. We'll continue the list. My number 7, Nashville Predator forward Philippe Forsberg. 64 points last year. An unbelievable couple of playoff goals, especially against Colorado. But this guy really, I guess, holds the Nashville forwards on his back as far as the offense goes because they get so much offense from the back end. Forsberg's kind of the leader up front. And I think 64 points is modest. I think he's going to be able to do a lot better than that this year. And with his size and strength, he's one of those players that I like that could rag the puck and control the way the game's played. The next guy on my list is also very good at controlling the game, and he could put the puck in the net. Dallas Stars forward, power forward, Jamie Benn from Victoria, British Columbia. This guy had 79 points last year, and, him and Tyler Seguin and Alexander Radulov form another big line in the NHL. Really hard to stop him. He's 6'4", 220-plus pounds, and with his reach, he's very good at controlling the puck. And with a playmaker like Seguin, he's very good at putting the puck in the net. But he kills penalties, he's on the power play, and he can do it all for the Dallas Stars. And finally, to round out my next 3 is your number 8, Johnny Hockey, my number 5. This guy, like I said, 84 points last year. He may be small, but he is shifty and fast and a smart player. You rarely ever see him get hit. And, for a guy that he can put the puck in the net and set up goals, I do think he had a decline in goals this past season. But that happens to the best of players. Sometimes they get a little more attention, like Stamkos, and they start passing the puck off a little bit more. So that's my number 5, Johnny Hockey.
All right. Well, Artemi Panarin was rated way too low for my liking. But yeah, my number 7 was also Philippe Forsberg of the Nashville Predators. It's still one of the best trades in hockey. Nashville only giving up Martin Erat to get Philippe Forsberg. And that's another guy that Washington could have had if they didn't trade him away, which is crazy to think. But yeah, Philippe Forsberg, he's just one of those guys. I brought up with McKinnon and stuff. When he's playing, you want to watch him. He's just so dynamic. But yeah, like those playoff goals, it's just like sheesh. Like how can you do that? Just the way he can shift through players and drag the puck around and put that puck in the net is crazy good. My number 6, Philadelphia forward, Claude Giroux. Giroux played his entire career at center, but they kicked him out to left wing so they can move Sean Couturier up to the top line. And Giroux only had 58 points the season prior, and he had 102 points this year, moving out to the wing. Just a crazy good season. Could have probably been up for the Hart Trophy possibly. But yeah, just a crazy good season. I'm still not the biggest Giroux fan. That's why he's just not in my top 5.
You're a hater. You're a
I
Giroux
know,
hater.
yeah. So that's why he's a little bit lower. But I can't disapprove that the season that he had. It was really good. And to get over 100 points, that's his best season since he had like 93, probably like 6 or 7 years ago, something like that. So just amazing, just a move to a different position, how that can work. And my number 5 is Jamie Benn. He is like the best power forward probably in the NHL right now. 36 goals, as you mentioned, 79 points. Him and Tyler Seguin are just that big dynamic duo. But yeah, Benn is that winger that I wish the Canucks could get. Being the physical and putting the puck in that, he can just do everything. But unfortunately, it doesn't look like Canucks will have a winger like that for a long time.
Jake Virtanen, maybe.
I know, yeah. But even if Virtanen does, he'll be nothing compared to Jamie Benn. But yeah, it's very and a former Art Ross Trophy as well for 1 year. My next 2, getting into the top 4 here. My number 4 is Artemi Panarin. This is a guy that I really wanted to see after when he got traded from Chicago to Columbus. Was if it was all just the help of Patrick Kane and how many points, and he showed that he did not need Patrick Kane whatsoever with the 82 points in 81 games. This guy is another small winger, but the offensive ability that he possesses is just amazing to watch, and elevating his line mates. With Columbus, like they don't really have any like super dynamic superstar players, so he's able to elevate guys like Cam Atkinson and Pierre-Luc Dubois, guys along those lines, and really run the power play. And my number 2, this is
number 3.
Oh yeah, my number 3. Sheesh, the list is already flying through. My number 3, this is the guy that I hate so much, but I have to put him on the list, is Brad Marchand. 68 games, he had 34 goals and 85 points. If this guy wasn't dealing out hits to the head and all the dirty stuff, and if he was healthy, he probably could have pushed for 100 points this year. If I take all that out, he is a really good hockey player, as tough as that is to say right now. But yeah, with him, with Bergeron and Pastrnak, Marchand is the dynamic duo on that line. He can do it all. He can be on the penalty kill. He can be on the power play. Along with Patrice Bergeron, great two-way players. And then in the Olympics, he's the other guy playing with Sidney Crosby on that line, along with Bergeron. But yeah, that's my top 3. But yeah, it's really tough to put Marchand there, but you can't deny all the ability he possesses. If he could ever clean up his game, I'd still dislike him, but at least you could try to somewhat respect his game. But yeah, it probably will never happen.
Well, I think I'm still in shock that you have both Jamie Benn and Claude Giroux under Artemi Panarin. But hey, I mean, everybody's got an opinion. Make sure you leave yours below. Leave us your top 10 left wingers going into this season, who you like. And you can also leave honorable mentions like we'll do. My number 4 is Claude Giroux. As much as I don't like the guy either, he is a heck of a hockey player. 102 points last year. And he's really carried Philadelphia's offense for the last 7 or 8 seasons. He is underrated somewhat, but I think he seems to disappear when they do make the playoffs, and I definitely think that's a knack on him. But he can put up points. Philadelphia's power play is always one of the best in the league. I don't know. They've always been able to click whether he's playing the left side or the left point. Giroux is my number 4. My number 3, also Mr. Pest, Brad Marchand. Only 68 games last year, still put up 85 points. And I think if he played in all 82, he would have been well over the 100-point mark last season. That line, like you said, Marchand, Bergeron, and Pasternak, absolutely, in my opinion, one of the best, if not the best, in the game right now. Those 3 guys that looked dynamite in the first-round series against Toronto and played a great playoff series. So now to reveal our top 2, I get to go first today. So I will let you know that it's New Jersey's Taylor Hall at number 2. Even though, he had a heck of a season, 93 points in only 76 games, Hart Trophy winner, right? He won it.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't watch I don't watch all the awards, but I don't know if he wasn't my vote. I still thought Nathan McKinnon should have won it. But Taylor Hall won the Hart Trophy, and I only have him number 2 because number 1 led his team to his first ever Stanley Cup and consistently puts up 40-goal seasons. None other than the great 8, Alex Ovechkin.
Oh, yeah.
Because I'm sure you're in the same opinion of the top 2. So.
Yeah. My number 2, Taylor Hall, and my number 1, Alex Ovechkin. Yeah, Taylor Hall, just crazy good season. If you just look at the point totals of all the New Jersey guys, he had 93 points. The next closest was Nico Hischier, with I believe 51 or 52 points, which is a crazy difference to be that good. And he had that crazy point streak, even though with injuries in between. I don't really count that with missing all those games, but even then, that's still really impressive. I think that was around a 20-game point streak or something like that. But yeah, he finally got into the playoffs last year, which was huge for him. And being that dynamic player that New Jersey really needed, just because it's you always think about the defensive structure that they play, and they haven't really had a big superstar player in a while, probably not since Zach Parise or Ilya Kovalchuk were there. They haven't really had that big name player. And Alex Ovechkin, if you watch our Washington Capitals preview, you'll see me rave about this guy. He's my favorite player in the NHL. 7 Rocket Richard trophies, 3 Hart trophies, only 1 Art Ross trophy, which still surprises me. You think he would have had a couple at least, but when you are a pure goal scorer, sometimes you don't get as many assists. But even him being known as a goal scorer, he's still put up 515 assists in his career, 607 goals, over 1,100 points in just over 1,000 games. But yeah, he finally got that Stanley Cup. Just the emotion of seeing him lift that cup was so good to see. But yeah, it's going to be a long time before anybody tops Alex Ovechkin on the top of this list for sure.
Well, let's talk about some of our notables that didn't make the top 10. We both only had 1 player difference in the top 10 today. I had Landeskog at 10. You had Jonathan Huberdeau at 10. I actually had Jonathan Huberdeau as my number 11. I had Anders Lee as a notable. The guy had 62 points last year and 40 goals. Yes, he was playing with John Tavares, but I would not be surprised if he does it again this year, whether he's playing with Brock Nelson or Matt Barzal. I can see him still putting in the puck because obviously what's his name? I want to call him Justin Bailey, but it's
Josh Bailey.
Josh Bailey. I'm thinking Justin. What's his name? Josh Bailey is an absolute playmaker on that line as well. And Anders Lee is a great power forward as well. Goes to net hard, and I think whether he gets 62 points again or not, we'll see. But I think he can repeat the 40 goals. Other people that made my notables are obviously Vancouver's very own Evander Kane. Struggled. I wouldn't say struggled in Buffalo the last few years, but he's definitely going to have a breakout season, I think, this year in San Jose. Two of my other ones are young Nick Ehlers in the Winnipeg Jet system. On the second line, playing with Patrick Laine, and he'll be playing with Brian Little, I'm sure, this year instead of Paul Stastny. But he's quick, he's fast, and can move down the ice very, very quickly. For him to maybe crack our top 10 next year. And finally, Rackell from the Anaheim Mighty Ducks. He can play both left wing and right wing, but he's definitely earned a spot as an honorable here, playing with guys like Getzlaf and excelling, 70-plus points. What do you have for your honorables?
Yeah. So my honorables, my number 11 was Rackell. Huge breakout season. Point-wise, 69 points, 34 goals. Got sent to the All-Star game this year, which was the big surprise there. So I think next year he'll be on that cusp of getting to the 40-goal mark next year. My next one is Carolina left winger Sebastian Aho. This guy had a really good season. In only his second year, he had 29 goals, 65 points in 78 games. Him and Teuvo Teravainen really clicked on the top line, and I think this year, even playing in a low market in Carolina, he doesn't get as much attention as other players. But I could see him getting 70 to 80 points this year, possibly 35 goals. Jaden Schwartz is the next guy I have on this list. Only 62 games last year, but 59 points. I think that top line went down with Shannon Tarasenko when he got hurt. But this is a guy, if this coming year, if he really puts up the points, he could possibly jump into the top 10, possibly. Anders Lee it was another honorable mention for me. Yeah, those 40 goals is huge. Getting that many goals, being that net front presence on the power play. He's really tough to move, and with Tavares gone, he'll most likely play with Matthew Barzal on that top line, and gain all those power play minutes. He should put up to 30-40 points or 30 to 40 goals again this coming year. And Nikolai Ehlers was my other honorable mention with Winnipeg. As you said, his speed and his offensive abilities are really fun to watch. And just some other guys that I think that could, and Evander Kane that you touched on, he wasn't in my honorable mentions, but I think if he has a potential to crack into the top 10, if he stays healthy and playing along guys like Joe Pavelski, Thornton, Logan Couture, I think he has the pieces around him that he didn't have in Buffalo as much to really get to that 30-40 goal total that people had projected him to get to, but he's just, with all the off-ice issues and stuff like that, he hasn't reached that potential yet.
Yeah, a couple others that never made it onto our honorable list. Guy had over 60 points last year. Minnesota Wild, Jason Zucker. He goes undetected because he plays in Minnesota. But playing with guys like Eric Stahl, he's going to continue to put up points. And, of course, all you Hab fans are probably mad that we didn't talk about Max Pacioretty. But his plays definitely declined the last couple of seasons. So that's why he's not on our list. And Penguin fans may be upset we never mentioned Jake Gensel. Hell of a playoff run. 21 points in 12 games, I believe. This guy, though, he's a great playoff performer, but needs to perform in the regular season. And I think this will be his year to finally do that. And I'm sure he'll be in our top 10 potentially next year. So remember to leave us your top 10 picks. Who do you like as the top left wingers in the NHL? Or where do you think our lists are totally off the rocker? Leave us a message. Remember to like us on Facebook, subscribe to us, and like us on YouTube. Once again, this is B&B Hockey Talk. I'm Aaron Bloxel with not Matt Barzal, but Matthew Balzer. Thanks again so much for listening, and you guys have a fantastic day. Tomorrow, we'll be back on with our top 10 list for the right wingers, which is going to be another tough list to do. So
Mm-hmm.
Have a great evening, folks. We'll talk to you guys tomorrow.